on the record once again, State versus Mark Brown, CM 19-007524. Council President, this is a continuation of the bench trial. When we last left, the defense was presenting a case. Ms. Lana, do you have any additional witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor, the defense calls the defendant Mark Brown to the stand.
Just so you know, I realize if you're up here, when you sit back in your chair, that camera's really
Yeah.
in a
Yeah, I'm gonna be
spot.
right there. Yeah.
Right, thank you.
So you're saying you want it lower when
It's
it gets
fine for
back?
right,
Yeah.
it's fine for right now.
Yep, when I come back, yep.
Thank you. You can have a seat up here, sir. Please raise your right hand. Please solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
You may proceed.
Can you please state your full name and spell your last name for the record?
Mark Brown, B-R-O-W-N.
And Mr. Brown, do you have some kind of channel that shows on YouTube?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
Tucson Police Suck. I'm a watchdog for Tucson Police criminal organization. I watch them and I film them out on the streets and in courthouses and in public out in all over Tucson.
Would you say that your channel is focused on the police and not civilians?
Yes, that's correct.
And to your knowledge, are you well known to the Tucson police for doing this type of
Oh, yes.
activity?
Yes, I am. Majority of them watch my channel, and the prosecutors, they watch my channel.
Okay, as far as you know.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So on the day of the events on January 24th, before you went to the sausage deli, what happened before then, before you even got to the sausage? Did something happen that day?
Yes, I was in court that day. I believe it was 8:30 court date, arraignment in room 2 on the first floor. And yeah, I was in there for court for getting arrested previous in the city court. All my arrests happened in the city court, including this one. I was arrested in city court.
I'm gonna back you up. So you said you had an arraignment.
An arraignment
Okay.
at 8:30 on a previous incident where I was arrested in city court.
And that previous incident, that had to do with filming as well?
Yes, the February 6th.
Okay.
I just walked in to serve a notice of appeal to Christopher Hell because we was appealing something, and I just went to serve that. There wasn't no filming involved. But as
Okay.
soon as I walked in, I was arrested.
Okay. And do you know who the officers were who arrested you?
Yeah, Castilla, I can't say the name real good. Castilla, C-A-S-T, Castilla, something like that. Castillo.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Spanish name. I have a hard time pronouncing.
Okay. What about Officer Wilson? Was he present that day when you got arrested?
On not the February,
No, I'm talking about the January 24th.
January 24th, yes. On January 24th, I was just waiting for my court date, and a Tucson police officer, Sherman, came in and started a ruckus and
Okay,
tried
well, I'm
to...
just asking you if Officer Wilson was present
Yes,
during your
later on,
arrest.
not the beginning of, he was present at the end of that, towards the end of that commotion.
Okay. How
Yes.
about Officer Valdez? Was he present?
Yes, he
Okay.
came in, I probably think they came in together, but I'm not sure. They
Okay.
came in about the same time.
Okay. So, let's talk about when you got to the sausage deli. Why did you go there?
I went there my battery is running dead, and I was on the phone there, and I was on my cell phone looking up the bond because...
I asked the question of why you went there.
Yeah,
why you went to the sausage
because after
deli.
the incident, the two guys we all three got arrested. Them two went to jail, Vernon Peltz and that. So I was there trying to bond them out. I was meeting another guy, and I was trying to meet a third person there, and I went there to eat. But
Okay.
and to take care of business because two of my friends just got kidnapped, and I had to go post the
Okay.
ransom money.
So you went there to eat, and
To
you were
eat and to I was looking on my phone to see when they was going to post the bond and see what it was going to be.
Okay,
And,
so were
and
you-
at that time is when one of the.
Well, I'm gonna walk you through this step by step, okay?
Yes.
So, were you there meeting, Mr. Pelenas? Is that why he was sitting at your table?
Yes,
Okay.
yep. I called him up to meet him over for lunch. I just need a place to hang out a little bit, eat lunch, and then find out how much the bill is gonna be to go
Okay.
get, you know.
And when did you first notice that Officer Wilson walked into the deli restaurant?
I was sitting right by the east door. He walked in the east door, and just to the right, when he walked in, I was sitting right there
Okay.
at the table.
Okay, may I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm handing you what has been admitted as Exhibit A. It's a series of photos of the inside of the Sausage Deli restaurant. And this is the third photograph in this series. Do you recognize that photo?
Yes,
And is,
I was sitting in that chair.
okay, when you say that chair, I'm gonna hand you a marker.
Mhm.
And would you say that is the East store? Would you agree with that?
Yes. Oh, you know what,
Okay.
man? So anyway, I was sitting where that chair's located.
Okay, I'm gonna walk you
Yeah,
through this,
okay.
okay. So, this picture, is a photo of the East store into the restaurant, wouldn't you agree?
Yes,
And can you circle with this purple marker,
Okay.
the table that you and your companion was sitting
just
at?
to be so I don't confuse anybody, that chair, what I do is I move that and I get this chair, because I'm so tall. They always have that chair there, so when I go in there, I take this chair and I put that chair where that chair is.
Okay,
So I was just sitting on a taller chair because I have a hard time getting up.
okay.
So,
So
but
can
I
you
was sitting in that
circle?
location right
Stop.
here.
Hold on. I assume that the defense wishes to have your conversation, the questions and answers part of the record. If you speak over each other, it's not. All it is
Yes, sir.
is inaudibles.
Yes.
So I'm gonna instruct you both not to speak over each other. One person speaks at a time. Do you both understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Judge, if I may approach to see what's going
Oh.
on with
Yes,
the
you may.
diagram. Marion, if you want, just continue, just so I can see
Oh,
what.
oh, okay.
I can't see what you guys are talking about.
So what I said is, these are tall chairs sitting right here on the bench. So when I go in, I take that tall chair and I put it there, right there. So I was sitting in that tall chair there, not the small chairs. This doesn't really matter, I just don't want to get that confused.
Okay, so for the record, Mr. Brown has circled in purple marker where he was sitting. And that looks like you were facing outward, is that true?
I was sitting in this tall chair, and it was probably facing at an angle like at the door, because I sit at an angle because the door hits my knees. So I would be sitting like that, or the table hit my knees. See?
Okay. So I'm gonna show you another photo. Well, I'm good, the same photo that you just circled. Can you,
What is this one marked as?
this is, the same photo, which is Defense Exhibit A, and it's the third photo in the series. It's the same photo that Mr. Brown circled where he was sitting. Mr. Brown, is this pony wall the wall that separates the seating area to the ordering area?
No, that's the outside window, that's facing Grant.
I'm pointing to.
Oh, here, corner.
Yes.
Okay, I was looking up there, yes.
Okay.
Correct, and that goes all the way down,
Okay,
yes.
can you put a arrow that indicates that's the end of that pony wall? Just an arrow to it? Okay,
Mhm.
and how many feet would you guess was between where you were sitting and the end of that pony wall?
That's probably 5 feet,
Okay,
6 feet maybe.
okay, I'll take that
Excuse
then.
me 1 second. Excuse me, sir. I assume you're able to read that sign that's right in front of you. Please don't use your phone in court. I appreciate it. It's distracting. Thank you. You may
Okay.
resume.
And, Mr. Brown, as far as, when you were sitting there, did Officer Wilson and Miss Fisher walk in the door of that east entrance?
Yes,
And what, if anything, did you say to them when they walked in?
I said, are you following me? Or something to that effect. Are you following me? I think I said, are you following me? Are you stalking me? I think I said following them. But that's all I said to him at that point. And then he responded no, it's just my lucky day, or something like that. Or I guess I'm just lucky.
Okay, and did you, when you first said that, what you said to him, did you yell it?
No, I didn't, and I didn't have my phone out at that time at all. So no, I just said that, and then his girlfriend, I guess, and the child walked in, and then they walked, after I said that, then they walked all the way to the end where the order, you know, right in front of pay here. They went all the way to the end, not where you actually order. And they walked over there, all the way to the end of that.
Okay. When did you first start filming?
Okay, as soon as they got to the end of that, then I reached in my pocket, and I didn't have much battery juice left in it. So that's why I only just filmed 38 seconds real quick, and I usually don't film in restaurants. That's the first time I've ever filmed a police officer in a restaurant. I've been in restaurants with police officers, but I never filmed. But this was the guy that just got through kidnapping my two friends and me, standing in front of me with a body cam for a long time, right in front of me with his filming me sitting down here at court. So
You made some comments while you were filming?
yes, and I was mainly talking to Robert and narrating into the phone, and I don't believe they could have really heard that way down there because I was zoomed in. Remember, I was zoomed all the way in.
Okay, but on that film, you did, do you remember and did you notice that Miss Fisher, it's obvious from the film that she knew you were filming. Would you agree with that?
Yes, she was looking back and being dramatic, yes.
And at any point when you were making those comments, were you yelling them out?
No, I wasn't. I was just talking into my phone. That was right by my mouth. So, you know, it might appear to be louder than what it is because I was right there.
Okay.
And you could see her saying something, but you couldn't hear what she was saying.
Okay. And at any time, did you walk over to Officer Wilson and Miss Fisher as you were commenting, making comments?
No, I was seated in the chair the whole time until.
Was there a time when you did get up from your table?
At the very end, so I was.
Excuse me, I'm gonna clarify, when you say at the very end, you need to explain what that means.
Okay, so after that 38-second video ended, then she, about 20 seconds later, she got and left. And now I know she went to the bathroom with her kid. I didn't know where they two went, but they both left. And then other people come in to get in the line, and then Officer Wilson backed up and let everyone go in front of him. Then he started backing towards the door. At that time, the two Air Force guys were waiting to pay, and they was over there at the standing at the end of the parapet, but on the other side, on the north end of that parapet wall, is where the two Air Force guys were standing. Then I got up and walked over to talk to the two Air Force guys, because I was in the Air Force stationed at DM, and they was on the flight crew. So I asked them, you know, what jobs they did, and they asked me what I did when I was in the service and all that. I was in nuclear weapons and the Glicken program. That's what brought me to Tucson in 1985. And we was just talking about that. Yeah, I was here in 85, probably before them guys were even born.
Okay.
You know? And we just had that conversation for about 2 minutes.
Okay.
So,
so when you walked over to where the Air Force guys were,
she was gone.
and were you always on the north side of that pony wall?
Correct.
Was there ever a time you went on the other side of the pony wall?
No.
Okay.
No.
And when you walked over to the Air Force guys, did you say anything to Officer Wilson while he was standing there?
He was already backed up towards the door because he was going down toward the other end of the parapet wall.
And when you say the other end, what west, east?
East. Yep, the
Okay.
east end, where I put that arrow. And he
Okay.
started going back that way.
Okay. And do you remember him being on the phone while he was
He was on the
standing
phone
there?
the whole time. I don't know if he's on the phone as his definition, but he had his head, he had it up to his head and moving his lips. So he acted like he was on the phone.
Okay. And do you remember when he actually, used his phone in the restaurant?
The whole time.
Like, it's,
From when he got to when he walked through the door, he wasn't, and then when he got to the place where it said pay here, the very end of that pony wall, that's when he went up on the phone, and he was there the whole time that he was in there. And this is a short time. This is no more than, the whole thing was less than 5 minutes. This was a very short amount of time.
and when you say the whole thing, do you mean the time inside the restaurant?
Yeah, no, I meant the time inside from the time that he got in his car and left. It was really fast,
Okay.
So I never saw her come out of the restaurant.
Oh, you never saw Miss
No.
Fisher when you say her, you mean
Yeah,
Miss Fisher?
Miss Fisher or her child come out. When I looked back, they was all gone.
Okay.
So after about the 2 minutes I was talking to the Air Force guys, I looked back, they was all gone. There was no one there. And I was facing northwest direction. And that's where the cop car was filled. So when the Air Force guys went up to pay for their food, and I saw the police car there, so then I turned around and walked out the east door, right where I came in and where they came in, and then I turned my camera on right there, and then turned that corner. I was facing north, walked, and then went around the corner, and then started going west.
Okay.
And that's where his car was parked, was right in the Walgreens parking lot, facing north.
Okay. I am, let's see, I thought there was I am handing you what's been admitted as Defense Exhibit A, and this photo, this is the 5th photo in the series. Can you, are you familiar with this depiction right here,
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yep.
And can you tell us what that depicts?
That is the outdoor area, and then their parking lot, and the camera's facing like north, west.
Okay, and can you, I'm handing you a marker, and can you put an X? Well, first of all, does this picture show where where Officer Wilson was approximately parked in the Walgreens parking
Yeah,
lot?
yeah, I didn't see him, but his car was parked right here.
Okay, and I'm gonna give you a marker. Can you put an X on that? And for the record, that, the road that is running parallel to the restaurant, that's Grant,
Grant,
right?
correct.
So that's kind of
That's
looking
north, yep.
northwest? Would you?
Yeah, this is looking northwest, yes.
Okay,
So Grant's north of the restaurant.
okay,
Yep.
thank you. So after you talked to the Air Force guys, is that when you noticed the patrol car in the Walgreens parking lot?
Correct.
And you said you walked out the east door,
East door,
and that's when you started filming?
yep, started the camera right there.
I am, if I could get this going, because now it,
And I was walking, so probably by the time I was halfway,
yeah, let me get out and. I had it all. Mr. Brown, I'm gonna show you the video that has been admitted as Exhibit C.
And I wanted to confirm that C was in fact admitted last time, is that correct?
That's my understanding. I certainly the state
Yes.
moved to admit it if it hasn't
Okay.
already been.
Should we move it so you could?
My
I
judicial
see.
assistant after the trial wanted to mark that down, and I said I thought it was admitted, but I confirmed it now.
That's my understanding, Paul.
Okay, thank you.
I can see it.
Can you see? Can you start it from the beginning, if you could roll it back? I know they might have, roll it back from the very beginning.
Ready?
Yes. So, Mr. Brown, this is the video that you took, right?
So this is the guy that was one of the guys that kidnapped him.
Okay. Stop it. So, Mr. Brown, was there, that video shows that, did you turn it on? When did you turn it on?
So, as soon as I got out the door, then it takes a couple seconds. So as soon as I got the door, I started looking at it and I hit record. So about the time I got towards the end of their little patio, then I turned left. I turned it on. It probably came on right then, right when I turned left at the patio. So I'm going north, the end of that patio. I turned left and go right towards his car. So I turned it on then, quite a ways away. But I was still at the restaurant on the north east corner.
Okay.
That-
And was that the first time you left the restaurant?
Yes, it's the first and only time I left the restaurant.
And was there ever a time that you followed Officer Wilson and Miss Fisher to her vehicle?
I didn't even know they left, so I didn't know which door they went out of. I still don't know, even with the testimony, which door they went out. But I went out the east door. I did not see them. I never saw Miss Fisher after the first initial time when she went to the bathroom. I never seen her after that. Ever.
Was there ever a time that you went to Miss Fisher's car and videotaped her vehicle?
Nope, I never even knew her vehicle was there. I didn't know what vehicle she drove, anything. All I saw was the police car and I was walking towards that. And I was focused on the police car, and then he came out on my left, out of the parking lot.
Okay. Was there a time in the restaurant where you noticed that Miss Fisher had a child with her?
Right when they walked in the door, she was on the left side of her, behind her, and that's the only time that I ever seen the child.
During the time in the restaurant, was there ever a time when you heard that child cry?
No, I never heard the child cry.
Did you hear the child whine?
I didn't hear anything at all.
How-
Zero noise out of the child.
How about outside?
Outside, I never seen the child or Miss Fisher. Only one I saw outside was Officer Wilson.
If there was a child that was upset by any actions that you might have been doing, would you stop those actions to keep the child from being upset?
Yes, I have grandkids. I have no intention of hurting any kid. I have no intention of hurting anyone. I didn't even, the child didn't even hear my voice, I don't think. I don't, and if it was just mundane. They wouldn't think nothing of it, because all I said is, "Are you following me?" So that's all I said when they walked through the door, when the child could have heard. That's all I said.
And in the restaurant, you already said that you didn't yell.
No, I didn't yell.
Was there ever a time in the restaurant that you noticed that other customers in the restaurant, noticed that you were filming or saying things into your camera?
No, there was nothing.
Was there ever a time in the restaurant that you heard someone tell you something to the effect of, "Why are you yelling at a woman and child"?
No, nothing like that ever happened.
So there's a point on this video that you were taking outside that it looks like you zoom in on a vehicle. Can you continue to play?
Yeah. Was that? Yeah, then get another job, buddy. Okay, you need to get another job and start working for a living. You have to get one that's not stop being a welfare recipient. All right? Think you can get another job? I can teach you to read. So yeah, if I teach you to read, you think you can get a real job? Huh?
Yeah. You have a great day, sir.
Yeah, you too. Stop kidnapping people. Gangbanger? Stop being a gangbanger.
It's right there.
Yes. So, right at that time, for what? About a second, I just zoomed over. I didn't even know that was her car until they told me it was her car. And if you look on there, see if you can read the license plate. You can't. Even though that is not illegal, you can't even see the license plate. I was on a camera phone. I wasn't on a camera I could zoom in. This was just a camera phone. At that distance, you can't see nothing. But she's parked at the thing, but I didn't know that was her at all until Friday. That's when I knew that was her car. But I just turned that way, zoomed in, and turned back. I didn't know until, like I said, recently.
So
Now
you-
I know that was her car.
And you're saying it wasn't your intention to photograph her license plate?
Yes, I didn't, and if you can see, you can't read the license plate number. You can't see it. Even with glasses or a magnifying glass, you can't read. It's just too distorted.
Okay. So after you stopped filming, then what happened?
Yes. So if that kept going, you see a van pulls in, pulling a trailer with an air conditioner on the back. That was an install crew. So soon as the officer was pulling out, right when I walked over to the van, and then I started talking to the air conditioning guys. You know, they was a local install crew that installs air conditionings. I do service and I have install guys, and they was an install crew, and I was just over there talking to them for probably about 3 or 4 minutes, and then I went back in the restaurant.
Okay. So do you still do air and cooling work, or are you retired?
Yes, I do, but I can't move my right arm anymore. I can't even change a filter anymore because I can't use my right arm because of what this court and Christopher Hill did to me.
Okay. So after you talked to those air conditioning guys, then what happened?
Good. Then I walked back inside, and I was waiting for the third person to come over, and then he informed that he wasn't coming. So then I went up and ordered, and then sat right back in the same chairs with Robert, and we ate. And we probably stayed there another 45 minutes and ate.
Was there ever a time that day that you were arrested for this, for what happened that day?
Oh, no, not that day. That happened on February 6th when I was coming back to court for the 24th incident, when I was arrested inside here. And all charges have been dropped on every account. But I was in court on the arraignment. When I came back on February 6th, then I got arrested again. And I wasn't even on the docket.
And arrested again when you
For this
say
incident.
for this? Okay.
For this.
Okay.
They took my cane away from me and then tackled me in this back corner and arrested me. I was in handcuffs already. They arrested me, took my cane away over right outside room 2, and then when the officer was taking me back, he tripped me, and then I went down, hit my head, and I passed out. When I woke up, my shoulder was all ripped out of socket, and I've had these problems ever since.
Did you see a medical professional for?
They wouldn't let me go to the VA hospital. I kept begging them to. They took me right to the jail, and then they tortured me more. They strapped me into a chair right in front of Officer Williams, right at the patrol car, and then they put my head down and pushed all their weight on it until I passed out. I couldn't breathe. I started, and then I passed out. They tortured me right in the jail for the rest of this incident.
Okay, no more questions.
Any cross-examination?
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Brown, you'd agree that a strange man following a kid he doesn't know and filming her, that'd be outrageous, wouldn't it?
I was sitting in a chair. I wasn't following no kid.
That's not the question. You'd agree that it'd be outrageous for a man who doesn't know a child to be following her and filming her, correct?
A child, yes, but that didn't happen.
All right. So you'd agree it'd be seriously disruptive to a mother and her child to have some man she doesn't know following her out to her car, right? You'd agree with that, wouldn't you?
If that happened, I would imagine it happens every day. It's not illegal, but I can see that.
Sure. You'd agree that it'd be bad for that child to have a strange man scaring his mother, following her, or scaring her mother, and following her around, correct? That'd be bad for a kid, wouldn't it?
Bad, not illegal. I would say it happens every day.
Okay. So it's your sworn testimony here, you had never seen Brianna Fisher get her car, you didn't know that was her car?
No, I didn't know what she drove. I never seen her car. I didn't know what her car was.
But you'd agree that in the film that we have, you zoom in on the car, correct?
I zoomed in on the place where everyone's pulling out
And then
So-
you zoom in on that car again, don't
for
you?
probably less than a second. So that's a real fast zoom. But yes, I just went over there and then I went back to the officer, I believe.
Okay. And then you went back to that car again in the film. We look at the tail end of the film, we see you go
I don't
back.
think so. I'd have to look and see. I don't think I went back a second time with the car.
Okay. But if you did, that would be pretty weird coincidence, wouldn't it?
No, this I was facing west, so no, and it wouldn't really be.
Okay. So you're what, 6'6"? Is that about right?
6'8".
6'8". Okay. And you were sitting on an elevated chair in the sausage deli? Is that correct? Okay. So you had a pretty good view of what was going on inside the
I
restaurant.
couldn't see over the pony wall. I couldn't see the child.
But you'd agree in the video, we see the child in your video, correct?
No, you don't. At the very end, you see something come out, but I didn't know that was a child until, and now that you pointed out, that probably was, about 3 inches of her came on the other side of the parapet wall. For a second.
You make lots of videos of police officers, right?
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, you describe that as your job right now, isn't it?
Well, it ain't a paying job.
Okay.
I'm an air conditioning guy.
But you've described it as a full-time job, correct?
No. I don't,
In
I
your
would never say
YouTube
that.
video titled Motorcycle Gang Banger Stealing Money, dated May 22nd, 2019, didn't you say, so as a consequence, this is what they get, I can't work my job anymore, so I have a full-time job watching these criminals.
Yeah, so basically, I'm out and my guys are going out to these jobs. And I don't do any of the physical work. So I'm able to do a lot because I can't climb the ladder anymore. At least I couldn't then for quite a while. Now I'm starting to be able to. But for that, I did spend more time than I was before because summer is my busy time.
So again, you describe this as your full-time job, correct?
I don't think so. I don't,
That's what you said, isn't it?
Yeah, but at that time, I couldn't
Objection
go
not
do the stuff,
responsive.
so,
Excuse me, sir, when there's an objection, hold on for the court to
Okay, yeah.
make a ruling. Objection is sustained.
You have described this as your full-time job.
I don't know, I have to read that. I was probably doing it more than I would normally do if it wasn't. for
Would you
that.
disagree that you said, so I have a full-time job watching these criminals?
I watch them a